Thank you very much indeed, and I apologise for my voice. Having just had a very nice holiday in August, I've immediately returned and gone straight down with a head cold. So I hope you can decipher my croaks. Anyway, I was very pleased indeed to have the opportunity to come along this morning and speak to you. Not least because I thoroughly enjoyed my visit to the actual National Physical Laboratory earlier in the year, and I was enthused by what I saw and very keen to come along and talk about the opportunities and the challenges of then commercialising the new low-carbon technologies that your organisation does so much to foster. The NPL Centre for Carbon Management and the Energy Technology Institute are coming together on this important topic, and I think this new synergy between research and commercialisation, two areas which often were very, very siloed, is to be hugely welcomed. And I think both have a great deal to offer each other. Now, what I witnessed at first hand when I went to the laboratories was certainly some of the amazing research that they do, such as new ways to measure carbon emissions, and also very topical technologies such as how to spot leaks from fracking or from carbon capture and storage projects. And these are absolutely critical to the agenda now, and will be critical for building acceptance and trust on that agenda. But the important thing one of the important things about NPL and ETI is that they work with a whole range of actors in the technology space, not just the big industrial giants with huge research and development budgets, but also some very interesting, innovative, groundbreaking SMEs, and working with them across a range of ways to help bring their innovations to market. Now, there are three key points. I'm not going to detain you very long, but there are just really three key points in my speech today. Firstly, that this coalition government really gets the fact that low-carbon innovation is a huge opportunity for the UK. Absolutely necessary for us to meet our climate change targets, absolutely vital for a whole number of ethical, moral reasons, but it is also fundamentally, and people need to wake up to this, a whopping great opportunity for both greening our planet and for growth within the UK economy. Secondly, there are still several challenges to overcome to capitalise on this exciting innovation, and we mustn't be blind to those. So how are we going to overcome those challenges? And thirdly, we understand that part of that response to those challenges must mean more effective collaboration between government and the innovators. Collaboration between government and innovators isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely key. So, to my first point, UK innovation in low carbon technologies, fantastic opportunity for our economy. To quote comments by the Prime Minister earlier this year, he said, "Make no mistake, we are in a global race, and the countries that succeed in that race are those that are the greenest and the most energy efficient." Indeed, recent growth figures show that green investment is paying back in spades and helping the UK to stay ahead in the global race for jobs and growth. According to the CBI last year, a staggering third of all of UK growth came from the low-carbon goods and services sector. Absolutely astounding figures. And in 2011-12, the UK enjoyed a £128 billion share of the global low-carbon goods and environmental services sector. That's a sector globally worth around $3.3 trillion, which makes the UK the sixth global player in the LCGS market. And people now believe that the sector employs close to 1 million people. And the key to this, across the board, and it is a very widely drawn sector, the key to this progress, though, has been an unrelenting focus on driving up innovation, but at the same time driving innovation up and costs down. And we must capitalise on this and continue to innovate to maintain our competitive advantage in this nascent market. In addition, meeting our very, very demanding 2050 carbon targets will require rapid and large-scale changes across a whole range of sectors, but particularly in energy efficiency, in electricity generation, in heating, transport, and industrial processing, to name but just some of the most important challenges. But equally, the Coalition understands that the pressure of rising energy bills that's being put on hard-working families up and down the country does mean we have to really focus on that second element, pushing down costs. And cost savings arising from innovation are helping to cushion consumers from upward trends in energy prices. Over the next 40 years, the ETI's ESME model suggests that savings to the UK could be worth up to £600 billion. So there is a very real opportunity there. But how to ensure that the UK actually maximises, takes that opportunity, makes the most of it? Well, that brings me to my second point. By understanding the challenges we need to overcome, we can capitalise on innovation. And the three elements here, I think, and I hope you would agree, are skills, finance, but also risk. To take the first of these, skills, the UK has a world-class research base. But this was built on the skills of our scientists and our engineers, and underpinned by a science budget of almost £6 billion, something that, despite the very severe strains on public finances and the obvious need for retrenchment and reductions in public expenditure, something that the Coalition has been at pains to protect and preserve. Now, we need to capitalise on the opportunity this investment in our research capacity brings. A few months ago, a report published by Shell Springboard and the Carbon Trust showed that small businesses account for more than 90% of the UK's low-carbon sector, for 90%. And we can help these businesses grow and benefit from the jobs that they will create. A second challenge innovators face is securing financing at the right time, clearly the key theme of your meeting today. But they need financing not just at a certain time, but right the way through their development journey. And this is a particular challenge for those smaller businesses who are not generating, particularly those who are not generating sufficient revenue to borrow from banks or access conventional lending. And often the complexity of their technology, however fantastic, however groundbreaking, can also mean it's unlikely to be understood more widely, and can actually mean that some of the most interesting, innovative, but complex technological developments find it the most difficult to raise the all-important capital. So it's in our interest to ensure that companies can find the help they need within the UK, so that we can benefit from their innovation. The final challenge, which is closely tied to costs, is risk. New technologies have inherent risk. They are, by definition, in many cases, untested. And trust needs to be built through a generation of a track record of thorough, independent performance verification and certification that any given technology will actually work. A good example is technologies trying to break into the notoriously non-innovative domestic and non-domestic building efficiency market. If we can help reduce this risk, we will speed the uptake of new technologies and encourage further large-scale private investment. To my final point, collaboration between government and innovators is essential if we're to actually make progress on all of these issues. Programmes all across government aim to help transform small businesses into high-growth, larger businesses. The Department for Business Innovation and Skills runs something called the Growth Accelerator programme, providing coaching support to businesses from every sector. And my own department's Energy Entrepreneurs Fund provides incubation support alongside project grants to ambitious, high-growth potential companies. Under the first phase of that programme, we're funding 30 projects to support young innovative enterprises develop low-carbon products. Two examples are Radfan and Ultramo. Radfan is being funded to develop and market a radiator-mounted fan to make room heating more efficient. Simple, but brilliant. Ultramo is being supported to develop a new type of highly efficient engine. The second phase of the Energy Entrepreneurs Fund has recently closed, and we will have a whole host of exciting new projects to announce soon. Overall, DEC schemes are contributing to growth in more than 100 entrepreneurial companies. And in the past year alone, I've announced DEC funding for a number of innovative technologies, including over £6 million for offshore wind components, £19 million for energy storage, £5 million to integrate UK nuclear research infrastructure. We've announced the world's first renewable heat incentive, which will act as a great pull to innovation and development, and £10 million for energy efficiency technologies through the Invest in Innovative Refurbishment programme. In addition, the ETI have helped build a 15-megawatt drivetrain testing facility at the National Renewable Energy Centre near Newcastle, and Samsung will soon be the first manufacturer to use that facility. These last two programmes, I think, are excellent examples of the way government can really use its funding, finite funding, to maximum effect, to help companies test and demonstrate their products, specifically to reduce that new technology risk, and then to help them overcome barriers to enter the market. We're also working across government, and all public sector funders of innovation have come together to form the Low Carbon Innovation Coordination Group. And together, as part of the Low Carbon Innovation Coordination Group, we will provide £1 billion between 2011 and 2015 to support energy innovation. Now, at a time of financial squeeze, £1 billion really is a very, very significant chunk of money, and I think genuine proof that when we talk about green innovation, the government is genuinely putting its money where its mouth is. And there are members of the Low Carbon Innovation Coordination Group here today. You'd like to put your hands up. Where are they? There they are. I hope you'll have an opportunity to chat to them over over coffee because they do a fantastic job. But how do we identify and target our support? That is the all-important test, because nobody minds us backing winners, but the old refrain of backing losers or picking losers is something that we're very mindful of. Well, the LCICG has published a series of technology innovation needs assessments, TINAs, and these reports cover technologies from domestic buildings to energy storage and new nuclear, and with the 11th report on hydrogen to be published shortly. The LCICG are now building on the TINAs to develop a strategy due to be published later this year, which will lay out a shared vision of public investment principles, approach and technology improvement priorities between now and 2020, setting out a clear, consistent, predictable, transparent pathway that will give you, the investors, the entrepreneurs, the certainty you need that as you push down that development pathway, there is the very real prospect of the support you need. The strategy will deliver greater confidence to the energy sector, supporting and de-risking and the alignment of investment. And we will work with innovators and with private investors to build development pathways and flexible finance so companies can secure the help they need to grow. These are just a few examples of where government is collaborating with industry. And I hope that today we can learn more from innovators and investors about the particular challenges they face. And my colleagues will be here throughout your proceedings, carefully listening to as well as contributing, I hope, to the important discussions you're having. So, in conclusion, we are under absolutely no doubt. In fact, despite my head cold, I am passionate about this issue, that low carbon technologies are a huge economic opportunity for the UK. Yes, there are challenges that we need to overcome, but collaboration between the government and between business in a smart 21st century way is more than capable of overcoming these. Government can play a key role as an enabler, but however much we do, it is the scientists, it is the engineers, it is the entrepreneurs, it is the investors, it is the disruptive new entrants, it is the risk takers who are the sources of innovation and innovation success. It is your ideas that will reduce energy costs, will create jobs and stimulate growth. It's a diverse landscape. I'm very loath to posit any sort of one-size-fits-all formula for such an intriguing spread of technologies and needs. And transforming our economy is certainly a broad and complex challenge. But to close with another quote from the Prime Minister, together we can make Britain a global showcase for green innovation and energy efficiency. Thank you very much.